Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Little Nebraska instant reaction. As you guys have known, we've been talking a ton of Nebraska football. I even got the shirt on, kind of just becoming a Nebraska fan. And it's obviously a tough one. Wanted to hop on, give you guys some of my thoughts and takeaways from this Nebraska game. Again, Nebraska fans, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys all summer long. You guys have been super active, super engaged, and the support you guys have shown, truly some of the best fans in the country. Unfortunately, did not get off to the way you wanted under the Matt Rhule era. Dill, I'm gonna kick this one off to you. I'm using this kind of just like a venting part. I just talk about some of the things that we saw, some things that we liked a lot, and obviously the same old stuff in the fourth quarter. Dill, I'll give you the tee box here. How are we feeling?
I mean, frankly, it kind of has that similar feel to games in that 2021 season, and again, 2022 obviously just went way off the rails. But even some years before, where yeah, there is a lot of good. These teams are, I mean, they're good
Good
football
team.
teams, and you just see the same kind of
It,
mistakes. I
it
mean, to
comes
turn the
down
ball
to
over
it,
four times,
we talk about Matt Rhule coming in and instilling this winning culture. And I mean, Nebraska fans, this doesn't happen overnight. As Michigan fans, we felt this way plenty of times in our past. And yeah,
oh
the
yeah,
culture doesn't change overnight. And you saw the same couple stuff rear its ugly head. I mean, 4 turnovers. When you go on the road and play a Minnesota team that is as solid as they are, you can't turn the ball over 4 times. I want to start with the quarterback, Jeff Sims. I mean, 11 of 19, obviously the bugaboo 3 interceptions, one of which at the end of end of the first half, just absolutely brutal. He has the talent. I mean, these weren't misplaced throws. These were just staring down your receiver. You have a NFL draft pick in the secondary and Tyler Nubin. That stuff's unacceptable. You saw it at Georgia Tech. The most frustrating part is Matt Rhule said all fall camp he's been taking care of the football, and when it mattered most, he just wasn't doing that.
I mean, I will give Jeff Sims not a pass totally, but this wide receiver play has got to be better. I mean, these guys were I felt like were covered up all night. He's having to hold the football. I don't know. They gotta again. Can he make those mistakes? For sure not. But this whole passing game as a whole, this something's got to change because they ran the football pretty well. I mean, Jeff Sims obviously ran the ball well. I thought Gabe Irvin looked really really good. But to be able to not hit anything really explosive down the field, basically you hit a couple quick screens and that's about it for the whole passing game.
Well, you had the Osborne play to start the third quarter but that was you're not relying on that type of stuff to push the ball down the field. That is something we said during the offseason, right? When you have some guys leave the program, you're obviously banged up. Marcus Washington played limited snaps, looked good when he was playing. I mean, you're relying on Alex Bullock, who, as awesome of a story as that is, the talent at the wide receiver position you saw was kind of lacking. And then to go to Anthony Grant, as talented of a running back as he is, he had the fumbles in fall practice. And one of the things that went through my head is, all right, Anthony Grant has had a fumbling problem. You're in the 4 minute drill. You're trying to just kind of close this game out. Why is the big bruising back Gabe Irvin not getting the rock there? And again, I don't want to sit here Monday morning quarterback in this. That being said, it just from a personnel standpoint, Gabe Irvin was the hot hand. He was the one running more physically, not having the fumbling issues. I don't know why Gabe Irvin wasn't the guy toting the rock towards the end of the game there.
I mean, and that's a stunning one. Frankly, you could really have Jeff Sims or Gabe Irvin taken. I mean, Jeff Sims was running the football really well all night,
Yeah.
and yet to go put it in Anthony Grant's hands when Matt Rhule pretty much told us this was a huge, huge problem, and then right on cue he does it. That I don't even want to but that just feels like a Nebraska move, like an old Nebraska move where you just make that critical error.
Yeah.
What's going on? How's it happen?
And one last thing I want to note, I mean, all this talk about the tight end play. I mean, you had one catch. Fedone, I don't think, had one single target. Billy Kemp, I think, had one target that just didn't get through. It's the guys that you thought would be your playmakers, the guys who earned their single digits, you weren't going to those guys, which is moderately frustrating as well. Now, this offense has the bones to be good. I thought the offensive line, that's about as good as we've seen, especially running the football. It was a more physical team. If we're getting to the positives here, this was clearly a more physical team. And you have 44 freshmen, a ton. It's a young team, but it's a more physical team. And Dill, I want to switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Tony White has this group playing extremely well. And if there is something to be optimistic about in Nebraska getting to a bowl game and winning some of these games, this defense is going to be one of the better defenses in the Big Ten, I think, all year.
I mean, the defense was like legit
Phenomenal.
awesome. There's nothing bad you can say about them. They really didn't do anything that made me even think like, man, what's going on here? I mean, I thought it started with the defensive tackles, Hudmaker and obviously Ty Robinson before he got kicked out of the game. Like those two are dominating at play to play. They were winning in pass rush. They were dominating the line of scrimmage. Again, like those things we talked about, this Nebraska teams needs to do. Like they gave up a ton of rushing yards last year. They go play a Minnesota team that they want to run the football. And yeah, they've lost some guys up front and obviously Mo Ibrahim, but that's still what this Minnesota's identity is. And Nebraska took it away in frankly in a move that they couldn't stop the run at all last year. So to come in, make that adjustment, I mean, that was obviously hugely positive. Frankly, like everything else on the defense too. You go into the secondary, they played really well.
Secondaries, I mean, it came down to like Daniel Jackson. That was one of the more incredible catches. I don't know how he kept that foot in. Like, you can feel a little better like when if you didn't lose the game, like Nebraska lost that game. They were the better team. They should have won that game. You'd feel a little bit better. I mean, getting beat by that was a great throw, it was a great catch in the back of the end zone. I would echo this, and we were kind of nervous. We talked about it during August. Like, is this 3-3-5 defense? Is it going to hold up against a physical Big Ten West team? And we said you're going to get your answer really early on. And I mean, it did. I mean, Nash Hutchmaker, Ty Robinson. One thing I'll say is they have a lot of speed, but that speed is also really physical. I mean, safeties, linebackers firing downhill, really sure tackling. If there is one positive to take away from this team, I mean, I think there's two positives. One, like the physicality was evident. And then two,
They didn't miss any tackles. I mean, for talking
no,
about a team that couldn't tackle really last year at all, like no missed tackles, a lot of negative plays. I thought the pass rush kind of came on a little bit late. I thought Leonard looked good. I want to see a little more Prince Will. Frankly, I thought
yep.
he had his moments. So I think again, I maybe want to see some of those freshmen play a little bit more because I did think they were the ones bringing the pass rush juice on the edge at least. Obviously, Hutmaker and Ty Robinson, they were doing their thing in the middle. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you talk about a transformation. The defense made it. Now it's time to see it from the offense. I think.
Yeah, and again, a lot of massive game going on the road to Colorado next week. So you have a big game that's going to be in the national spotlight. It's going to be an opportunity for a quick turnaround for Nebraska. Get the bad taste out of the mouth. At the end of the day, you were 7.5-point underdogs going on the road with a bunch of new faces to a PJ Fleck Minnesota program that is about as consistent, as tough as it gets. They played good enough to win. You can't go win turning the ball over 4 times in the ways they did it. And that's kind of the story. One other thing I would note, really, really good in the second half on third down. We said kind of the key. If you guys watched the keys to win that we put out a couple days ago, like getting into third and long, thought they did a really good job of that in the second half, and then getting off the field in the first half. We'll say, like, though, this Minnesota team, the Greek Rifle, like I think
He's good. He's really solid. I think those wide receivers are a lot better than we all thought they are.
yes.
Obviously, Spanford's great, but Jackson, I mean, he played really, really good. Kind of what I think you would have hoped, frankly, out of him in terms of what Minnesota was thinking, and they did that all without Autman Bell. So, like, credit this Minnesota team. I think they're going to be able to play, and they're going to be really, really
Yeah, and
effective.
I like leave this game, and obviously like, Minnesota's gonna be a team that's competing in the Big Ten West. I'm not. I like again. I don't want to just like act like it's all sunshine and rainbows. This is a team that can beat any team in the Big Ten West. 100% agree with that. They just need to play winning football, which is again the most frustrating part. Is we've been kind of talking all summers like Matt Rhule's a winner. Matt Rhule's a winner. Now, one thing before we close out, when he started at Temple, I think they won 2 games. When he started at Baylor, they won 2 games. And then the winning started happening. And Matt Rhule's been saying, like, we're worried about what we are at the end of the year. We got a lot of new faces. So for Nebraska fans, like, I'm not going to try to, like, sit up here and like, make you feel better. We're on here to, like, feel better ourselves and just talk about what we saw. Again, some good takeaways. Can't wait to see this team go on
Last
to
thing,
Colorado.
what do you think they need to do for this passing attack? Because I think this is what needs to something needs to change. You can't throw the ball, in my mind, that ineffectively. To me, I think you need to be able to hit some big plays. You need to get guys in space. It didn't feel like they got anything from that passing attack at all. What do you think? Like, do you
I
go
think
to?
one, establishing the run more than they did, and establishing the run with their running backs. I don't think this is sustainable. Jeff Sims, that's a good question. I'm happy you brought that up. I don't think it's sustainable with Jeff Sims running the ball 20 times a game. And like you're not going to win. You got to establish it with your running backs. You have a really good running back room. I think Gabe Ervin is a really, really special back. So for me, starts with establishing the run, working play action. Let Jeff Sims get out of the pocket. That is where he sees the field a little bit better. It doesn't allow him to stare down receivers. That's how you want to play with Jeff Sims. I didn't see nearly enough of that. So that's my takeaway. And again, you look at this roster, like they need to start continuing to infuse talent.
Like,
At
do
that
you
wide.
think you like get him moving a little bit? That's almost what I thought. Like he was basically playing inside the pocket 100% of the time. The couple times he ran it, they were basically like QB power ISO, like inside the tackle, just kind of runs. Like, why not? I think they did a read option or two in the first half, but they really didn't go to it. There's something to me. It feels like they need to like open this up a little bit, and Jeff Sims needs to not just be sitting in the pocket all game because that's just not what he does. He
I'd
doesn't.
also say I'd throw one more thing, like the tight end play. I mean, you went to the tight end, I think, one time all game, and that was something that we've been talking about a lot. Satterfield's going to lose a lot of 12 personnel, a lot of tight ends, and you saw one target. And again, go to your guys. At the college football level, it's you have your guys. I think Fedone, Billy Kemp, like those were the guys that we thought were the dudes, and they didn't get their targets. So that's probably what I'm saying. Again, I'm really excited to see this team. I think it's going to get better, and I know Nebraska fans are sick and tired of hearing that. But that's the only as a Nebraska fan, like that's all you got to believe is it's going to get better as the season goes on. I know Nebraska's not wavering in their support of this program. The best fans in the country for a reason. Appreciate the Nebraska fans checking the boys out again. Look forward to breaking down the Colorado game. Hopefully, we get on next week talking about a nice on the road win against Coach Prime. Again, appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.